And as people are coming on to the recording, I'll just let you know that we'll be using a block this morning. And we're gonna get started. And I'm gonna start sitting, and you're welcome. Oh, I'm gonna turn my phone off. I just saw my phone here. That would be bad if my phone rang. So you're welcome to start lying down or sitting in a chair or sitting on a blanket or whatever suits your fancy. So either way, a little ladybug friend here. We'll say goodbye to our ladybug friend. So anyway, we're going to begin by getting comfortable. And if you're lying down, just feel the floor supporting you. Feel your feet planted. And if you're sitting, take a moment and feel and root your sitting bones down. Send roots down from your sitting bones into the imaginary or real ground beneath you. And inviting your spine to be supported and allowing that spine to rise up. And you could have your eyes open or closed. But take some time to really bring your awareness to this feeling of being in your body. So often we think about so many other things, but now we're just going to feel what it's like to be in our bodies. What do you notice when you bring your awareness to this experience of your physical body? You might notice your breath. You might notice a vibrational quality. The energy that animates your physical presence. You might notice some other sensation, but just really notice how it feels to be you right here, right now. On a physical level. And then let's take some time now to connect with our breathing, consciously bringing our awareness to what it feels like to breathe in and breathe out. How does it feel as the breath moves into your body, through your nose or your mouth, as it expands into you? And how does it feel as the breath releases through your nose or your mouth and out of your lungs? Dive into this experience fully with your conscious awareness, the movement of your breath in and out, and you might deepen your breathing, make it more expansive, nice and full. See if you can experience the sensation of a full emptying of breath, how it feels once the breath has fully released. We're practicing conscious awareness, being very present to what we're experiencing in the here and now. This is what sets yoga apart from many other forms of exercise, is this focus, this paying attention, this mindful awareness. So before we start to do more movement with that same mindful awareness, let's just check in with how we're doing mentally and emotionally this morning. And set an intention to treat ourselves as our own best friend, which we really are. Let's respond to how we're feeling with kindness and compassion, understanding. And maybe consider, based on how we're feeling, setting an intention of something we'd like to kind of orient around or focus on or cultivate as we practice this morning. Maybe one word that can guide us as we spend this next hour taking care of ourselves. And then when we're ready, we can go ahead and open our eyes. So if you were lying down, let's all sit up. And again, you might sit up on something. I'm sitting up on a blanket. And as we root down, again, we're going to straighten our spines up, and we're going to even extend the spine a little bit. So we're going to let the sternum go a little bit forward and let it lift up. So we're kind of arching the back a little bit. The gaze can go up. You can be holding your knees as you breathe in. And then as we exhale, as we hold the knees, let's round back. So let the back round, kind of roll back onto your tailbone, let your chin drop down. So we're going to root down and inhale and straighten up and arch and breathe in. And then as we exhale, we'll round back. A few more like that. Rooting down, inhaling, and arching up. And exhaling and rounding back. And again, root down to rise up. And exhale to round back. All right, let's root down and straighten up as we breathe in. And then as we exhale, we're just going to try and lean forward a little bit. We're trying to hinge forward rather than bending at the waist, just hinging from the hips. And maybe the fingertips reach out toward the floor. And if they touch the floor, they might walk a little forward. So the spine stays long, we're hinging. Can we lengthen the spine a bit more here as we breathe in? And maybe we are able to hinge forward a bit more if that feels good. If that doesn't feel good for your back, don't go as far. And then walk yourself back up. We're going to just orient over one knee and do the same thing. We're going to root down and rise up and breathe in. And then hinge forward over that knee, reaching out toward the floor. And see how this feels for your spine, for your low back, for your hips. If it feels good to go deeper, go deeper. And if it feels like it's not quite right for you, then don't go deeper. Maybe one more breath here. In and out. And then walking back. So we'll turn center and then we'll orient over the other knee, rooting down to rise up and breathing in. And the exhale, hinging forward, reaching out toward the floor over that knee. Again, how does that feel? Maybe you're feeling something in the opposite hip. Maybe you're feeling a nice stretch in your low back. Maybe it doesn't feel great, so you're not going to go as far. Take another breath, spine long. Maybe you lean in a bit more, maybe not. and then coming back up. All right, let's just straighten the legs out for a moment and just kind of maybe shake your knees a little bit. And we're going to try changing the leg cross because we always cross one and then the other. So can you cross, if you're doing cross legs, of course, if cross legs isn't comfortable, then don't cross your legs. Your legs can be straight. But if you're sitting cross legs, start with your other leg coming in first, just to kind of switch it up a little bit. Let's put one hand on the floor, take the other arm and reach it up, stretch up and lengthen that side waist here, breathing in, and then step the hand on the floor a little bit away and stir up, let that elbow bend and stretch the other arm over. So can you root this sitting bone down as you reach the arm overhead? Get a big breath into the ribs, the sides of the ribs here. And you reach long and then come back over. Put that hand on the floor, take the other arm, big stretch up, and then step the hand away, bend that elbow and reach over. This hip might come up. Can you root that sitting bone down and then stretch that arm over and take a big breath into that side? Yeah, great. And then let that arm come down. And then we'll just do a gentle twist. We'll bring one arm across, the other arm behind, and we'll just gently twist in that direction. Nice gentle twist just to get started here with a big breath in and out. Maybe deepening the twist a bit at the end of your exhale, and then unwinding back around. We'll go the other way. Hand comes across, the other hand goes behind, and just follow around, twisting your upper body around, and then take a deep breath in and out. And just maybe as the breath empties, you might twist just a little bit more. And then releasing back around. All right, so we're going to make our way back down to lying down. Some of us, our first time lying down. So we're going to lie down and feet on the floor. We'll lift our heads up and clasp our hands beneath our head, letting the weight of the head rest into the hands, elbows wide. We'll take a breath in. As we exhale, let's begin to knit the low ribs down into the belly to initiate the lifting up of the head, neck, and shoulders. And then we'll inhale and release back. So again, knitting the ribs as we exhale and curl up, and then just reach your arms towards your knees, maybe curling up a bit further, and then lower back down and breathe in. Again, exhale, knit the ribs, curl up, reach the arms forward, and then lower back down. This time we're going to exhale and curl up, and then let's bring one knee off the floor and bring the opposite elbow towards that knee, and then lower the foot and inhale back. We're going to exhale and curl up, other knee comes up, elbow to knee, and then lower the foot back down. So we're just curling up, opposite elbow to opposite knee, coming back down, curling up, elbow to knee, and lowering back down. This time we'll curl up, elbow to knee, and then take that leg, extend it out as you release back. So same leg, curl up, elbow to knee, and then extend the leg out, inhale back. Curl up, elbow to knee, extend that leg out. Again. Take that extended leg now and lift it up toward the ceiling, curl up and come across. Lower that leg as you inhale back. Leg comes up as you curl up and twist across. Lower and inhale back. A few more like that. Last one. Twist across. Release that foot down. You can let your head rest on the floor on your hands for a moment. Take a break. Take a breath. And then lift your head a little bit off the floor again. Take a breath in. As you exhale, knit the ribs and curl up, and then bring that other leg up, elbow to knee. Extend that leg out as you inhale back. And again, elbow to knee. Extend the leg as you inhale back. Couple more like that. Exhaling as you come up and across. Now let's take that leg and lift it up in the air as we curl up and twist across, and then lower it down. Curl up, twist across, lower it down. Couple more, coming across, waking up, upper belly and those obliques here. Let's do that one more time. And then we'll bring that foot down, release the head onto the floor, onto your hands. Okay, let's take both feet off the floor. So we have knees over hips. And we're gonna take a breath in. We'll exhale and curl up again. And then we're just gonna do a little reverse curl, lifting the hips a little bit. And then lower the hips, release the head back. So we're curling up and lifting the hips and then releasing back. Exhaling as we curl up and lift. Inhaling, releasing back. One more like that. All right, so now take one leg up in the air. So you have one bent knee and one straight leg. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take a breath in. We're gonna exhale and curl up and lift the hips. And then as you lower, switch the leg that's up in the air. And as you curl up, lift the hips. And switch the leg that's up in the air, curl up and lift the hips. Switch the leg that's up in the air, curl up and lift the hips. So I know it's a little tricky, but we're just changing the leg that lifts up into the air, and then we're curling up and lifting the hips. Changing the leg that's up in the air, curling up and lifting the hips. Couple more like that. Curl up and lift the hips. Change the leg, curl up and lift the hips. Couple more. Exhale, curl up and lift the hips. Inhale back, change the leg. Exhale, curl up and lift the hips. One more time each side. Actually, we want to end up on the second leg. So we'll do one more. Great. And then release down. Nice work. Let's roll to our sides now and support our head with our bottom arm, or you could slide a blanket under there. We'll bend our knees forward. We're going to wake up our hips a little bit. So put your hand on your top hip. And if you have your knees parallel in front, that'll mean this hip is on top of this hip. And we want to try to maintain that alignment and not let this hip roll back as we lift this top leg up and straighten the leg. So the tendency here, it would be that that hip rolls back. And we're going to try and keep it right over the other hip. And then let's just start to make some little circles. So we're going to circle that leg forward and around. And I'm going to do a number of these in one direction. And then we're going to switch it up. So I should probably be counting so that we're even. But we're going to approximate here. We're going to do a few more circles in this direction. And then we're going to change direction. Little circles the other way. Trying to keep that hip right where it is, stacked over the other. So the hip bone is stacked right over the bottom hip bone. And the movement is just the leg, not the hip. But we're working the outer thigh, the outer glute, waking up the muscles of the hip here. Let's do a few more circles on this side. Nice work. And then we'll let that knee relax down. We're just going to push up and swing around to the other side. So again, letting your head be supported in some way. We're going to bring the knees forward. If the knees are parallel, that'll stack this hip bone over the other one. So maintaining that position of your hip as you straighten your top leg out. And then let's do some circles. Yeah. Nice work. So good to be back practicing with you all. I had a little challenging time finding room to do a lot of physical yoga on my little trip last few weeks. So there's always time to, sit and meditate, but a little more challenging to do the physical practice. So it's great to be back. And let's go the other way. Keep this hip really steady. It's not rocking front and back. You're just moving the leg. We'll circle around a couple more times. Great. Let that leg rest. Good work. We're going to push up onto all fours now. You can always cushion your knees if that feels better for you. Get nice and square, wrists beneath shoulders, knees beneath hips. Feel your spine here, nice and long. Take a breath in. As we exhale, let's round the tailbone down, round through the spine, push into the hands, drop the head, big flexion in the spine, and then come to flat back. Let's start to lift the tailbone and start to arch all through the spine, drawing the heart forward and looking forward and breathing in, and then back to flat back. Let's round again. And as the spine is rounded, we're going to take the hips back, all the way back, and we're going to sit back on our heels. Let the forearms come down, and then start to scoop forward. Start to scoop your heart forward as you start to straighten your arms, come into maybe even greater extension of the spine. And then go back to your flat back. Let's try that again. Round the spine. Take the hips back. We're going to sit all the way back on the heels. Let's come on to forearms, and then we'll start to scoop the heart forward, lengthening, extending the spine here, breathing in, and then back to our flat back. Great. Let's take one leg back, press back through the heel, strong leg, pushing firmly through the heel, and reach the opposite arm forward. Just holding steady here is one option. Another option is to take a breath in and then bring that elbow into the knee and lifting up in the belly here. We can reach out and breathe and exhale and pull up and in. Reach out and breathe in. Exhale, lifting up. Two more. Reach out here. Exhale and pull up and in. One more time. Reach out. Exhale. Elbow to knee. Pull the belly up and in. We'll reach out and hold for one more breath. And then release that hand and knee down. Other leg goes back. Strongly pressing out through the heel. Opposite arm reaches forward. Option to just hold here or bring elbow into knee and pull up in the belly. Reach out, breathe in. Exhale, pull up and in. Get nice and long, fingers to toes, and then lift up. Two more, reaching out, and then pulling up and in. Last one like this, as we pull up and lift. And then we'll hold long and strong, and then release. Great. All right, let's sit back into child's pose. Letting the spine round over the legs, letting the head be supported in some way. Take a moment here to check in, reconnect with that something that you're focusing on or infusing into your practice this morning. Something that you can offer yourself. Kindness, consideration, empathy, respect, forgiveness, understanding, or something else. And then when you're ready, lift your head up, reach your arms way out, and let's make our way to downward facing dog. Feeling your hands on the floor. Feeling your spine nice and long here. Feeling the weight of your head just releasing off of your spine. That little movement, a little shaking of the head can free up the base of the skull. Let's pedal the heels, bending a knee and pressing a heel down. I do remember when I first started doing yoga, being told that someday downward facing dog would be one of the most comfortable positions, and thinking how preposterous that statement was. And I'm there. Like, I love to be in downward facing dog. I don't know how it is for the rest of you, but this feeling has really become just a very familiar, delightful place of length and release and this feeling of breathing where the breath can just flow out and flow in. And for me, it's quite remarkable. We're all on our own paths and we all have our own bodies and our own journeys, but we might take one more breath here. And then we'll walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering the heels, ending up grounding into our feet as we feel the upper body just releasing loosely over. Let's take a big breath into the upper back. Let that breath release. And then draw the belly in, soft knees as we begin to roll ourselves up. Taking the time to unfurl the spine, letting those vertebrae stack one on top of the other. As we ground down, we feel that support to eventually lift the head up. And then let's reach the arms out and start to bring the arms up overhead, grounding down to reach up, big breath in. And then we'll exhale, arms down at our sides. Great. All right. Let's come into sumo. So heels wider than hips, toes turned out. Hands can be on the hips. We're going to let the hips go back as the knees go forward. So the knees go out in the direction of the toes and we stick the hips back. And could we take the knees a little more forward and the hips a little more back without dropping the chest down? So keep your chest a little elevated as you sit those hips back, those knees forward. Yeah, get into a nice solid sumo stance. And then let's try lifting the heels up a little bit. Now let's try lifting the heels up a lot. If you need a little support here, you might want to hold on to a chair or something. We're going to play around with this for a while. Let's let the heels lower down slowly, 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 and then let them come all the way down. And then we'll straighten up. All right, again, hips back, knees forward. We're going to lift the heels a little bit and then lift the heels up real high. And we're going to slowly lower. Let's count down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. And then we'll straighten up. Great. All right, hips back, knees forward. We're going to lift just the right heel up real high, high as you can, and lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Other heel up real high, slowly lower, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. This time we're just going to lift the heels barely, so they're kind of grazing the floor. And then with your heels grazing the floor, we're going to straighten the legs. And then let the heels come down one more time, hips back, knees forward. We're going to lift the heels just barely. And with that slight amount of contact, we're going to straighten the legs. So you might feel that those pelvic floor muscles working here as we straighten up. Great. Working the feet there too. Let's bring the feet together and we'll come to stand at the front of our mats. Let's find mountain pose. So just think about the weight of a mountain. How much weight is at the foundation? Can you feel that groundedness, that connection to the earth? Send your roots down as you stand really nice and tall. Think about not pulling yourself up, but kind of pressing yourself up into a really nice alignment. And then from there, take your arms out wide and expand out to your fingertips. And then as we feel our connection to the earth, let's reach the arms up, lengthen, lift the heart, lengthen the sideways, breathe in, and then we're gonna swan dive. So arms sweep out, knees can be soft as we hinge over, letting the arms drop, letting the head drop, and hang here. Let's place hands onto shins and inhale and lengthen the spine. Let your heart pull forward. Breathe in. And then exhale and fold over. We'll bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Feeling that connection of whole hand, every part of the hand that can touch the floor, really feeling that. As you draw your hips back, can you broaden between your shoulder blades, kind of rolling the creases of your elbows a little more towards the front of your mat as you broaden across your upper back. Take a breath here. In and out. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Great. We're going to lower to straight arm plank here. Shoulders over wrists, letting the hips drop down. Can you create a nice long line from your ankles, your hips, to your shoulders, to your ears? Feel that alignment. If you want to drop your knees down, you always are able to do that. Let's take a breath here, and then we're going to try a little bend in the elbows, elbows pointing back. All right, now can we straighten the arms? And we're going to take the hips back, bending the knees quite a bit. And then we're going to come forward into straight arm plank and try a bend in the elbows. It could be a little bend, or it could be more of like a push-up-y feeling. Straighten the arms, take the hips back, bend your knees. Come forward. You can hold plank or do a little push-up. You do a little bend in the elbows, whatever you like. We'll do a couple more of these. Bending the knees, coming forward, maybe hold or a little bend in the elbows, or a little more of a bend in the elbows. Last one here. Bend your knees as your hips go back. Come forward. You can hold plank, hold a little bend in the elbows. You could drop your knees down. We'll take one more breath. And then let's all maybe drop the knees, and we'll come all the way down onto belly. All right, let's slide the heels of the hands back towards the low ribs. Let the chest sink into the floor. How close can you get your breastbone to the floor? And that's going to smush your nose into the mat. So lift your chin and your nose just slightly. Let the crown of the head lengthen forward as your toes reach back. I want you to take a little breath in here, and on the exhale, can you knit your low ribs in a little bit? Just like we did at the beginning of class, just a slight knitting of your ribs in and up. And with that little bit of containment now, start to lift up into baby cobra. So if we knit the ribs, the extension is going to occur a little more in the upper back, a little less in the lower back, which is really where we want it in baby cobra. And then we're going to lower back down. So a slight knitting of the ribs up and in as you inhale and extend into baby cobra again. And we could lift our hands a little bit off the floor and hug the elbows in towards the midline, and then release the hands and release the chest. All right, this time we're going to start the same way, coming into baby cobra. We could stay here, or we could continue to extend and lift up and press down and maybe come into more of a cobra. And then we'll lower back down. Great, let's push up to knees, curl the toes under and lift the knees. And we're gonna lift the hips up and back to down dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And then let's look a little forward, walk our feet up towards our hands, plant our feet beneath us. Upper body's loose and heavy here like a rag doll. Let's take a breath into the upper back. Let that breath go. And then let's sweep the arms out, inhale and rise up. And we'll exhale, arms down at our sides. All right, grounding down again. Let's inhale and reach out and up. Exhale and swan dive forward. We'll bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Taking a breath in here. Exhaling to straight arm plank. Take another breath in here. Exhale and lower all the way down. Prone mountain. Let's inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. And exhale back down. And make our way up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And looking forward, walk our feet up, plant our feet beneath us. And then sweep the arms out, inhale and rise up. Exhale, arms down at your sides. One more time. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Exhale, straight arm plank. Let's try side plank now. You can roll to the side and reach an arm up, or you could drop the knee that's furthest away down. Take that leg back and reach up. You could stack your feet if you want a little greater challenge. We'll just breathe here. Try to lift the hips up and take one more breath. Nice. Come back to straight arm plank. Lift back up to down dog. Take a breath. Exhale again to straight arm plank. We'll do the other side. The knee closer can turn back and you can press down, or you can just roll to the sides of the feet, or you could stack the feet. Press down to lift up, maybe lift the hips a little bit more. Breathe in and out here. Then back to straight arm plank, back to downward facing dog. Breath in and out here. Lower to straight arm plank. Lower all the way down to belly. Inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhale back down. Make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out. And then we're just going to lower onto knees and come up to stand on the knees. Great. All right. I want you to take the leg that's further from your device and step it out in front, not the one that's closest. And scoot your heel a little forward of your knee. You can put your hands on that front knee and just let the weight move forward. So we're getting a nice stretch into this back thigh. I want you to put a little tone in your belly to support your low back here. So a little engagement of the low belly muscles. And then push the weight back. Now push some weight into your back knee and shin into the floor as you let the weight come forward onto that front foot. And then push back. One more time, pushing a little bit down with the back knee and shin as the weight moves forward. As you're here, take the same arm as the back leg and sweep it up. So the back knee is pressing down as the arm reaches up. And then if you like, add the other arm reaching up and take a breath. Great. And then we're going to exhale our hands down. So maybe we drop a little deeper forward here. And then we're going to curl the back toes under and press up to lunge. Now make sure your feet are as wide as your hips here. You're not on a balance beam. Push some weight into the front foot and rise up. Straighten the front leg, bring your hands to your hips. Take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to bend the front knee, and then we'll push that front foot down to straighten the front leg. We're bending the front knee forward, pushing down to straighten. Couple more like that. Bend the front knee forward, push down to straighten. This time, bend the front knee forward. Keep that knee and shin as though they're moving forward. Keep the knee bent. Press back through the back heel. Let's start to lift the heart up. We'll lower our arms down. Let's sweep them out and up. Reaching up, we'll breathe in, lengthening, lifting here. And then we're going to exhale our hands all the way down to the floor. All right. From here, I want you to plant your back foot down. So you're angling that back foot in, and we're going to bend into the front knee. Now, this back arm, place it on your back knee. We're going to roll the chest to our device and lift the top arm up. So we're in side angle here. Can you really feel that back foot planted, that back leg strong? Can you broaden from your bottom shoulder to your top shoulder as you reach this arm up? Take a breath here. As the breath empties, let's release our gaze down towards that front foot. Take another breath in and out here. On your next inhale, we're going to reach the arm up and rise up and straighten that front leg. Great. So now I want us to turn and orient towards the short line of our mats. And this back foot, we're going to deeply angle it inwards. Okay, so we've got a big wide stance. Back foot is deeply angled in. And we're going to, our shoulders are facing the short end of our mat. I want you to inhale, rising up, and exhale and start to hinge forward. Now, you might put a little soft bend in that front knee. And we're going to, as much as we can, bring the spine parallel to the floor. Yeah. And then we're going to push down and rise up. All right. Turn your feet forward, and we're going to walk our feet together, or you can jump your feet together. Okay. You're going to need your block. And we're going to come back into that position we were just in, okay? So you want that big wide stance. You're going to turn that back foot strongly inward. The front foot's facing the front of the short line of your mat. We're going to do that same thing. Orient the shoulders towards the front of your mat. Straighten up and breathe in. We have our block. We're going to exhale and hinge forward to flat back. And then the hand that's closest to your device, you're going to put your hand on the block right under the shoulder here. The other arm, the back leg, you're going to take that arm parallel to the floor. And then we're going to revolve. So we're going to twist away from our camera, reaching that back arm up toward the ceiling. Now, if your hip is shifting out to the side, draw that hip in line with the front foot. And let's breathe in and out here. And then we'll let that arm come down. All right, you can bend your front knee a little. Step the block off to the side. Bring your hands to the floor. You can drop onto your back knee, and we're gonna come back up to standing on our knees. All right, let's just turn around and face the other way. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So we're gonna take the leg that's further from our device and step it out in front. We have our block nearby this time. All right, so we're just gonna let the weight move forward into the front foot, letting this back hip move forward, a little stretch in the front of that leg, and then push the weight back. Now let's actively push that back knee and shin down as we bend and bring some weight into the front foot. A little tone in the belly here, so you're not dumping into your low back. Let's do that again. Weight in the back knee and shin as we let the front knee move forward. And then as the back knee presses down, that same arm reaches up. Take a breath here as you reach up. Let that breath go, and then maybe take the other arm up. Big stretch, big breath, reaching up. And then we'll exhale our hands down to the floor. Curl the back toes under, push up into a lunge. Make sure your feet are as wide as your hips for stability. And then push into the front foot and rise up, straightening the front leg. We'll square our hips to that short line of the mat. Let's bend into the front knee. Push that front foot down to straighten. Bend the knee. Push down to straighten. A couple more. Bend the front knee. Push down to straighten. This time we're going to bend the front knee, keeping the knee bent. Let's lift the sternum. We'll drop the arms. Let's reach them out and up and overhead as we breathe in. And then we'll exhale our hands all the way down. Then we're going to plant that back foot, angle that back foot deeply towards the front corner of the mat. And then we're going to rise up, straightening the front leg. Oh, I'm sorry. We're gonna come back down. We're going to place the back arm on the back thigh and roll the chest and reach the arm up. Sorry about this. All right, so we're broadening the chest. We're opening the chest. We're reaching up. And then we're going to release the head to look down. Yeah, we're going to breathe in and out here. And then the arm's going to reach up and we're going to straighten all the way up. There we go. All right, now we're going to turn towards the short front line of the mat. We're going to angle that back foot deeply in. We're gonna inhale up tall and exhale and hinge forward toward a flat back. That front knee can bend a little bit. And then we're gonna grab the block, let it be right underneath the hand. You know, your block can always be lower or higher, but the idea is that the spine is long. If we brought the hand to the floor, most of us would round the back. So the block is allowing us to keep our spine long. Then the arm that's closer, that's away from our device, goes straight out parallel to the floor. And then we rotate the ribs, chest, shoulders, and lift that back arm up into revolved triangle. Pull that hip crease back on that front leg. Breathe in and out. And then we'll release that hand down. Nice work. All right, set the block aside. We can come on to the back knee. We can push back. We can kneel on both knees. And we're just gonna sit back into child's pose. So sit back on your heels, round over your legs. Your forehead be supported in some way. Breathe in and out here. And then after your next full release of breath, we're going to make our way up and around to just coming all the way around to lying on our backs. So make your way to lying down and set up for bridge pose. So get your feet in close to your, kind of heels right under your knees, heels kind of close to your bum. Feet hip distance apart, arms at your side. When we practice bridge, we don't want to turn our head. So looking straight up at the ceiling here. So feel your feet on the floor, feel your sacrum on the floor, and then really push your feet down. When you push your feet down, you might feel your hamstrings engage. And we're just going to lift the hips up and up. As your hips go up, your knees and shins go forward. Keep lifting up and up and up and up till the weight comes up onto the shoulders. The knees and shins are pressing forward. The feet are pressing down. The hips are lifting up. Take a breath at the top. And then slowly, gradually lower down as incrementally as you can here. Giving your spine a nice chance to articulate into the floor. Take your time to release. Feeling those different vertebrae contacting the floor individually. Eventually, feel the weight settle into your sacrum. And at that point, just let everything relax and take a breath. Now I want you to work your heels a little further away, a couple inches away from your bum. And then we're just going to press the heels into the floor. So lifting the forefoot up. So we're going to come up into a few more bridges. These are not going to be high bridges. These are going to be lower bridges. These are going to be working the back of the hamstring, the back of the leg. So pressing your heels down, lift your hips up. Again, you're not going to come as high, but I want you to activate those hamstrings. And then lower back down. Don't worry about articulating here. And then let your heels go another inch or two away. And the same thing, heels press down, lift your hips up. I want you to wake up your hamstrings here and then lower back down. And then walk your heels an inch or two further away and then lift your hips up. So you're going to target those hamstrings and glutes a little bit differently with however far away your heels are. Go a little further away, lift up and lower down. One more time, a little further away, lift your hips up and lower down. Do you feel different parts of your hamstrings and glutes working? Let's walk them a little bit closer and then lift up and then lower down. Walk them a little bit closer and lift up and lower down. You're kind of really squeezing here. Walk your heels a little bit closer and lift up and lower down. And this time maybe plant your feet in your normal position. So this time we're going to do a regular bridge like we did at the beginning. So looking up at the ceiling, we're going to press the feet down, knees and shins go forward to take the hips up into the air. Getting those hips up nice and high here. Your feet are really pressing down. Take a breath at the top. Nice high bridge here. And then a nice articulation as you lower. Vertebra by vertebra by vertebra by vertebra. Really slowly, gradually articulating your spine down until you're all the way down. Relax. Great. Let's take one knee and hug it in and extend the other leg out straight. Yeah, the leg that's straight, bounce the knee a few times and then let that leg feel really heavy and loose on the floor. And keep the heaviness in that bottom leg as you hug the other knee in nice and close. Yeah, open that knee out to the side and take a breath. Bring the knee back. Grab it with both hands. Bring that knee towards your midline and then hug it across towards the opposite shoulder, stretching into the outer hip. Take a breath in and out here. And then bring that knee back. We'll lift the leg up in the air, holding behind the thigh. Press your thigh into your hands, straightening your arms. Push your heel up, pull your toes towards you. Stretch your toes up. Squeeze and scrunch your toes. Wiggle it out. One more time. Flex. Nice big flex. Push that heel up. Pull the toes down. Big deep point. Squeeze the toes. Wiggle it out. Change legs. Bend that knee. Place that foot on the floor. Hug the other knee in. Straighten that first leg out. Bounce that knee a few times. And then feel the heaviness in that leg as it settles into the floor. Keeping this straight leg heavy, hug the other knee in. Take it out to the side, taking a breath. Bring the knee back as you exhale. Cross it over to your midline and then towards the opposite shoulder. Taking a breath here into that outer hip. Bring the knee back, lift the leg up, reach around, hold the back of the thigh, pressing the leg into your hands. Push your heel up, pull your toes down, big stretch through that bottom part of the leg. Push your toes up, nice point, and then squeeze the toes so you get a big stretch in the top of the foot. Wiggle that out, do that again. Heels up, toes pull down. Big point. Nice squeeze at the top and then shake it off. Good work. Release that foot down. We're going to start to transition to our final relaxation. If you want to do one more movement, go ahead and do something that your body might be wanting. And then begin to transition to lying down comfortably. So maybe you put on a layer if it's chilly where you are, or you put on some socks, or you cover up, get a pillow or a blanket, whatever would allow you to be most comfortable. We take this time at the end of class to offer ourselves this final act of love and compassion where we experience deep relaxation of the body, which then fosters an opportunity for relaxation in the mind. So it's good stuff here. So you lie back. If it's comfortable, we let our eyes close. And we let go of every need to be in charge, any need to control or direct. We settle into a state of allowing. Allowing the body to relax, to soften, to settle, to release. So we're letting the feet relax, the ankles, the calves, the shins. We're letting the knees relax, the thighs relax, the weight of the legs resting into the floor. We give the weight of our hips to the ground and allow the belly to soften, the gut to unclench. We let the weight of the shoulders release into the floor, the arms as well, the hands heavy, the palms relaxing. We let the area around the heart soften and open. We feel the head resting back heavily, and we allow the facial muscles to soften and release, to smooth. Relax, let go. Let the mind be like the body, just resting now. This is our natural state. Light, peaceful, at ease. All the layers of focus and tension and tightness can fall away. And we can experience this state of being that is our natural state. So if you'd like to stay longer, you can. If you're ready to start transitioning out, I invite you to begin by just allowing a little bit of a smile to curl up on the edges of your lips. Just a gentle smile. An opportunity to connect with that sensation of contentment. And then you could begin opening your eyes We can start to bring our feet to the floor. Gently roll to the side, taking a little time there to transition. Just taking our time now as we slowly, gradually begin to make our way up to sitting. And as always, I encourage us to take a few moments here to just connect with what's important to us. Maybe a little gratitude. So much to be grateful for, and so much to be gained by taking the time to recognize the abundance in our lives. I thank you all for being here this morning. Peace. It's great to be back with you all. And you can come on over and say hello or goodbye or share something.